bit of a walk around the workshop live for you guys. So now my name's Molly and we have Nick here as well. So Nick is going to be our resident anorak, as he always is, and tell you all the amazing information about the cars that we have in the workshop at the moment, and hopefully some of the jobs that the technicians are doing on them. So let's go down. At the moment we're in the trim shop, but unfortunately our trimmer Lydia isn't in today, so there's not much work going on here to see, but this is the space that she works in and the magic that she makes. For example, those seats over there.
This is actually the one bit of the workshop I know very little about.
There you go then.
Yeah. No, all I know is that it's witchcraft. I don't know how they do it.
Witchcraft.
Don't get it.
What are you like? Okay, so come on down the stairs, guys. So the first car that we come along to, that Nick, what would you like to talk about first?
I don't know, what one do you want to know about?
Should we go for this MG here?
Yeah. MGB Roadster came in a couple of weeks ago. It's actually in really, really good nick. Pardon the pun. But it's got a head gasket issue. So I don't know if you want to go up the stairs a little bit, Rob. Cylinder head is currently off. So that's out. Basically, if a cylinder head goes, things can get hot and they warp. So we sent it away to an engine specialist to check if there's any warp on the head. That'll come back. As you can see, we literally have the new gasket set there. Yeah, that's what we're waiting on. It's just to see what's happening with that. But this might be becoming a competition car.
Ooh.
Might be.
Oh, there we go. Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's keep your eyes peeled, guys. So then, up there next to you, we've got a transit here. So what's happening with this transit up here?
Yeah. So, Mark II transit tipper. It's full restoration.
I remember it, to be fair, actually, not that long ago, being over in the fab shop and just being a complete shell.
Yeah, so it was cab off, it was just the frame and stuff pretty much was sitting there. But Steve, who's one of our technicians, who's right there, this has kind of been his project that he's been working on. So in the last week or so, we've been working on the fuel tanks. As you can probably imagine, with a early to mid 1980s Ford Transit, you can't go to a local Ford dealer and find these on the shelves. So it's tricky to try and find them, and it's even trickier to get remanufactured parts to fit. So Steve's been working on trying to make sure that the filler necks and stuff are all in the right place, and also that they're the same side to side. But I mean, Steve's just done an incredible job with it. He sort of built up all the hubs and stuff for it as well. The rear end's in, exhaust is now in as well. Yeah, I think we're just waiting on a couple of bits and pieces for it, and then fingers crossed, it's first fire up soon.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So then if we go straight across the workshop to the Austin A40. Now, I know a little bit about this Austin A40 because I was with Nick and some of the guys from the workshop and Gordon, Rob, who's behind the camera today, when it got unveiled for the first time at a little lady called Jenny's house.
And in about
Ipswich.
26 minutes time, you guys will be able to see what that day actually looked like, because Hidden Treasure, which is the short film pulling this out of, how long have it been there? 1981, Jenny said. Oh no, it had been in that barn since 1988.
Yeah, a really long time.
Which we believe is the longest time any of the barn finds we've come across, is the longest time they've ever been away. Yeah,
and a testament to Jenny's husband, because he oiled up all of the different seals, all the metalwork and everything, and this is the car original. I mean, it's absolutely crazy how amazing this paintwork is.
It's been valeted.
Yeah.
One of our professional valeters came up here on Saturday. I was up here with the car, just kind of keeping an eye on it. And you think of valeters, and you think of guys with big, what they call pressure washers and stuff like that. But this whole thing is cleaned by hand.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to make sure, even to the point where I saw Paul with 3 different sized toothbrushes cleaning the
Cleaning.
Austin sign.
Yeah.
So it's a 52. The last time it was on the road was 1961. It lived for a little while at Jenny's mum's house.
In Norwich Road, and then it moved to
and then it
where she
moved to
lives.
their house.
I think there's about 15,000 miles on the
15,002.
There you go, 15,002 miles. There you go,
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't know if you
yeah.
guys can hear me or not. It's an active workshop, so sorry.
But yes, Hidden Treasure, the film about us unveiling this beautiful Austin
Comes out in about 20 minutes.
A40, Jensen bodied, comes out in about 20 minutes. So do give it a watch. It is a really lovely, wholesome video as well.
But all of that is entirely original. So it's even to the point of with the engine bay and stuff like that, it wasn't pressure washed. Everything was cleaned down by hand because we didn't know.
What was underneath?
Not even that, we didn't know how brittle like the wiring and stuff was going to be or anything like that. So Steve literally cleaned this entire, Paul literally cleaned this entire thing by hand.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to see. When we first got it, we tried to sort of bar it over. So first thing you do when you come across a car like this, you go, okay, why was it put away?
Yeah.
What happened? Thankfully, the technicians who were with us on the job, which was our workshop manager, Big John, our other technician, Little John, and then Julian, sort of were there to help get things on the move. I mean, this thing had been stored completely correctly. It was up on blocks, so the wheels weren't even on the floor, so it didn't have a chance to flat spot the tires. It was incredible, but it was lock solid. Like, no amount of grunting and swearing meant we could break it loose. But we got it back here, unloaded from the trailer, put it in next door, which we'll explain more about next door in a second. And as you can see here, one of the plugs is out. So the plug on number 4 is out. The reason for that is because Big John has essentially been feeding the engine. So with that is we'll pump in every now and then a little bit of sort of like anti-corrosion sort of stuff to try and break the rings loose. So we think what's happened is over time, because it has sat there, there was no oil in the cylinder head. Because gravity, it all finds its way to the bottom. And yes, although it's sealed, moisture and stuff still gets in. And we think that essentially the rings had rusted onto the side of the cylinder.
Right, so they're stuck.
They were sort of stuck. So what we've been doing is sort of feeding it a little bit every now and then, putting a bit of pressure on it. And then I think it was Tuesday morning, Big John literally went like that, barred it, and the whole thing just went and went. So it's actually moving nice and free.
Perfect.
Yeah, we've been talking about this car for a long time now, but it's really exciting.
But yes,
20 minutes.
if you want to see even more about this car, then please do look at the video that's coming out in about 20 minutes, Hidden Treasures, because it really is a treasure, it is. Now, what is above this car, up on the ramp?
Above this car is well, it's a car that I gave it its nickname, which is Mean Greenie. So we're known for doing Jensen 541s, which is the predecessor to the CV8, which is the predecessor to the Interceptor. So really this is like the second car that Jensen ever really kind of built. So this is a 56 541. It's quite an early car. It's not the earliest car we've ever worked on. The earliest car we've ever worked on is the prototype.
Yeah.
But this is being built, so this is being built all original. But it's, so we, like I said, we specialize in 541s. We've done some different stuff, things that weren't done from the factory. So it's a 4-litre straight six with a manual gearbox, rear wheel drive, totally traditional. Super cool, really torquey, you can drive them really well. What we've been working with at a company, we've had a few of them built. It's actually, there's one over here if you guys want to come have a look. Well, there was one. I can't see it.
Find it.
Sorry. We had a series of aluminium cylinder heads made for them. So basically, because of being aluminium and it being a cylinder head, it's right above the explosion, so they get hot. So iron will hold heat really well. It's a really good conductor of heat. Aluminium is a really good distributor of heat.
Right.
So we can run them a little bit harder. So normally the ones that have the aluminium heads, which I think there's 5 or 6 cars we've built that have the aluminium head on them. We'll also put big flat top pistons and stuff in them. We bump the compression up on them. They're kind of like the 541 hot rods, which one of them is being built in there, but that is an ultra traditional sort of going back to doing what Jensen did with it in the first place. But yeah, it's an early 541. It's not an S, it's not an R. That's the bonnet for it.
Just behind you.
And it's actually weirdly in an Aston Martin colour.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Carriage green.
I do really like the carriage green.
Yeah, it started off as a cancelled customer order. So customer essentially got to a certain point in it and just changed their mind, which is fair enough, you know. So we're essentially building it as our own private car.
Yeah.
Building so many of them, we sort of realised like, oh, we built so many of these, but we don't have one.
Yeah.
So we're kind of building it for that. But in here we've got tons of stuff going on. We've got a couple of E-types.
2 E-types at the moment.
Yeah, Series 2, which belongs to a really good friend of ours, and like long-term customer as well. I don't know if you can see up here, Rob, but the amount of stickers in the windows. I mean, this customer puts thousands of miles on this car every year. It's, I believe, going on a big road trip to Spain and France in a couple of weeks. So it's in for Julian to do a service, check over, that kind of thing. I mean, it's even to the point of in the back of this car right now, because I've known the customer for a while, will be his racing helmet, his driving gloves, and his driving boots will be in the back of this car.
All ready to go.
All ready to go under a net, and there'll also be a big box of spares as well.
Yeah.
This car has run track days at Spa, it's run track days at, I believe, the Nürburgring as well. So like this is, if you've got a Series 2, so it's 4.2 straight 6. If you want to know the difference between all your different E-types, go have a look at the story of the Jaguar E-type, which has Mole in it, and explaining to you exactly the difference between all of them. But one of the big ones you can tell is Series 2. Very, very early Series 1. Another barn find. At the moment, we seem to have barn find after barn find after barn find.
Which is very exciting because the barn finds are brilliant.
They are, because
and you never know what you're going to get.
And especially like
a dip.
Especially like with the Austin A40.
I know.
If something's been put away for that long, it's never had the chance to be messed with. So that way we know that everything's as it should be and where it should be. So at the moment we're recommissioning the Series 1 back to the road. We were actually at an auction a couple of weeks ago, which is where we got our Triumph GT6.
Yes, which is a competition car currently on the website.
Yep, so that's getting checked over. It's having a couple of bits and pieces done to it. It's had new wheel bearings, it's had a UV joint, that kind of thing. So it's getting ready to be won next Tuesday. But we were at the auction and this came across the block. We weren't bidding on it or anything, but it was just kind of cool. The auctioneer sort of shouted out, just like, oh, and this car will be going to Singapore. The car didn't go to Singapore. It made its way 2.5 hours east because the customer who had bought the car basically rang us on the way home and just went, oh, can you get the car back on the road? So we were like, yeah, cool, drop it off. So that actually arrived in the trailer with the GT6, which there's also a film on.
No. Yes.
Yeah. We make a lot of films.
Watch it.
Yeah, so that's going back. So literally the rear end has just gone back in the car. So that was dropped out, blown apart, re-shimmed, all new brakes, everything. Little John is the king of the E-Type. Yeah, we got that. We got the Cobra, which Julian has been bouncing backwards and forwards between Jazz, as we call her. And also it's kind of cool because it's 422, so it's 422 Series 2. Yeah. There you go. And the Cobra, which is being built for a customer. So it's a really, really early fiberglass replica. I think it's 75? 75? 75. It's actually the owner of that car is the best friend of the owner of that car.
There you go.
So they're going to have twinsies to be able to go out on road trips with.
But the workshop is expanding as well, isn't it, Nick?
Yes.
So if we take you next door, you may have seen this before, you guys, but it is expanding because kind of the competition building and the competition side of the business is moving to somewhere different called the Classic Lounge, which is just over the road. So this is going to be a new extension of the workshop, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think it's within the next week to 10 days. The new ramps are going in, the new 2-poster ramps. So essentially everything that's in here, so I mean, our restoration order books are closed until 2026. We have got probably the better part of 10 to 15 cars to get through the next year or two. They're all ground up restorations as well. So this room is essentially going to become a finishing room. So where you see things like that Jensen, so the 541 Mean Greenie, Mean Greenie will be transferred into here. We're having racking put up on the sides of the walls. As you can see, the finishing bays and stuff are already put in. The cars will then be put in here to essentially have their final build-ups before then they're put out for testing with Big John. Every car that is restored here has a 2-part sign-off, which is it's first signed off by Big John. Any issues, it comes back in, we address those, and then it has a sign-off by the customer.
Yeah.
The customer will drive the car, come back, be like, oh, cool, here's a list of things that I'm not sure on. We'll go, no worries at all. We'll do that, test it, troubleshoot it, do what we need to do till we deliver back a car that is just...
But more than likely they'll go, that was the best drive I've ever taken in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's, we've got some, I mean...
Oh yeah, the Riley 9 horsepower over here, which is very, very cool. And we did kind of like we did a photo shoot, the last probably photo shoot of our Riley 9 horsepower last Friday, because it is going to be sold at some point. But this has been a project that has been here at British Classic Cars for the last 4 years, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, so it arrived as an 80-foot long pile of parts. The story goes, it had been bricked up behind a wall for decades. Again, another barn find.
Yeah.
And it's quite cool. So we've always referred to it as one of one, but Rob, who's our marketing manager, is the man behind the camera right now, and smiling because he doesn't know what I'm about to say, has actually coined the phrase of it is the world's only 1905 Riley 9 horsepower.
It is.
Because if I'm right, this is the pre-production development car for what became the 1907 model, but came out in the end of 1906.
Ooh,
He's nodding. I got it right. This car is
Very
in some ways
special.
actually beyond original.
Yeah.
So you can go to National Motor Museum at Gaydon, who have been a massive help to us. There's so many people, like, we couldn't have even tried to do this without. So guys like Jeff Haviland, guys at the National Motor Museum, the Riley Motor Club and that kind of stuff have been super helpful. But the thing is, this is the world's only one.
Yeah.
It's not like any of the others.
Very
so
cool.
You can't take measurements from the other cars. The other cars, I think I'm right in saying this, Rob, are longer. They're shorter, sorry, it's one of the others, 50-50 on that one, are shorter. The seats are basically 2 bucket seats, they're not a bench. And speaking of the seat...
But what's really cool is that you actually have the original seat and roof.
The original hood. And when you think
well.
our trimmer Lydia, who we mentioned earlier, who performs witchcraft upstairs,
Managed to create this from looking at the
from
original.
shreds of what's left and also a few photos. Actually, we haven't talked about the photo that that has come to our attention recently. Do you know the photo?
The photo of this actual car,
this actual
yes.
car.
Craig did mention it on a live a little while ago.
Yes,
but yeah.
he did, yeah. So we had some visitors up to us the other week, just after the first drive of this, was it? No, it's the day before the first drive of this car. So Jeff been instrumental in this, who is Mr. Riley. Except he's not Mr. Riley, he's actually Mr. Haviland, but you get what I mean. Basically made us aware of a photo, which is this car in somewhere between 1918 and 1920s-ish, of this car.
Yeah.
And the reason that we know it's this car is because it's wearing the number plate CW151. CW151. But most importantly, and Rob will show him, if there's ever a photo of this car, the only way that you can prove that it's our car
Is the dent.
is the dent. That dent has been there from what we've been told from day one.
Yeah.
That is its original radiator, which was missing for 70 years.
And then found a
And
lady
then
at an auction house,
and
rang
then
us
found-
up and said, we think we have your radiator, and it was the radiator. It's absolutely amazing. It's almost
Yeah.
like the stars aligned to be able to...
Yeah, and I mean, even the bodywork on that, which is wooden, local specialists, such as Ashbocking Joinery, who've been amazing with us on other projects and stuff, it's not a remade body, it's a repaired body. 80% of that is the original wood
yeah.
from 1905. And basically bricking it up inside of a wall,
Kept it safe, like a time
hermetically
capsule.
sealed it.
Yeah.
There was no oxygen for it to be able to rot, which is amazing. But like, we've converted, so those lamps aren't the original lamps, and they're also electric, so we can flick them on, flick them off. It's super cool. There's a video of Gordon firing it up. It took about 3 days to fire it up and for it to move, because we had to basically start it, warm it up, see what happened, let it cool down. We had to do clutch adjustments and stuff like that on it. But there's the video of it on YouTube now of Gordon tearing around the car. He wasn't tearing around the car park, he was doing like 10 miles an hour. But he literally got out of the car and he was just like, yeah, it felt like it was going, and sort of on the video, it's just like, oh, it's just turned around quite gently.
Yeah.
But because of how it is and because of how early it is in the history of the car,
Yeah.
not just this car, just the car.
The car in general.
To the point where it was called a horseless carriage.
Yeah.
You feel like you're doing 1,000,000 miles an hour in it. It's super cool.
It's really
I love
cool,
that.
so cool. And obviously we've got our Amphi car here, which is a
Yes, which
customer
again,
car.
restoration project, couple
Yep.
of niggles.
And
so we're sorting those.
our Spitfire here as well, which is also a customer's car.
Which customer was in, he flew in yesterday
Yeah.
for the first
been there
drive
this
and the
morning.
test. We've got a couple of things that we need to sort out on it, and then it will be making its way home.
And then also our Ferrari Dino here as well, which is also a customer's car.
It is a customer's car.
A
But
customer's car.
original UK right-hand drive, delivered to Maranello concessionaires in Egham in Surrey at the beginning of, I think it was 1971, 1973, can't remember. But very, very early on in that year. And also super strange for a European spec. It's a Targa. Very, very few of these in the UK, especially originally delivered, are Targeted.
Yeah.
It's an original 246 GTS. We know it's a GTS because it's stamped on the top of the frame. So really, really cool. We're doing a film about these soon, aren't we?
We are, which will be exciting,
Yeah.
which you'll also find on the YouTube channel, so keep an eye out for that.
We will, yeah. What else have we got? Daimler 66.
Daimler, that's been having its air conditioning sorted today, hasn't it?
It's got a few issues, this car. We bought it, I believe we bought it from the estate of a friend of ours
Right.
who very sadly passed away. It had sat neglected for 15 years. The sills had gone on it, all the electrics and stuff had all gone, you know, had decided to do their own thing. It didn't want to be a car anymore.
Yeah.
So the guys here have been kind of working on it and
Bringing it back to life.
giving it some love to kind of teach it to be a car again.
And our MGB.
Yes, that turned up yesterday and I know nothing about it.
But it looks beautiful, and it is going to be a competition car soon, I believe.
But here's the interesting bit. At some point in, we believe, the 1990s, it's had electric windows put in it.
Oh yes! Look at that.
Which MGs do not have.
Well, there you go, handy.
So
It's very
these are
quirky then. This one's going to be a very rare piece with its electric windows, everyone.
Yeah, but it's done really nicely.
It is beautiful. I absolutely love the colour combination.
It's got matching red seat belts.
Oh, yes. It's the
Same seat belts
details.
that are in the Red E-Type as well, actually, but newer.
Newer. There you
And
go.
then over there, there's a TR7.
And the TR7, which is going to be a competition car very, very soon,
Yeah,
everyone.
but don't bother looking at it.
Nick.
I don't
Nick
like
doesn't enjoy that
TR7s.
one as much, but it's still a brilliant car.
I refuse
it really
to.
is.
I have actually refused to sit in it.
Well, we're all entitled to our opinions, aren't we?
Yeah.
But
We've got
yes,
some bikes.
lots of. Oh yes, let's check out the
Lots
bikes
of
really
bikes,
quickly.
actually. That's our director Craig's bike, which is the Ducati Scrambler. So this is kind of Craig's summer bike. So that's been pulled out, MOT'd, serviced, got ready. Matchless, I want to say M20. Can't remember, but big old side valve jobby.
Yeah, we've got BSA.
Got BSA A10, Veloset Viper, very, very cool bike.
Very cool.
A lot of love for that.
And then a couple more over here. So our Ducati 900 Super Sport, which was won on Tuesday,
By
and
Nick
it's going to
Scales.
go by Nick Scales, and it's going to go to its new home. I believe we're going to get it ready today, aren't we? Take it to its new home very soon. So it's just been
Yeah,
MOT.
literally just arrived back from MOT.
So we're going to be getting it ready to be delivered very, very soon.
Yeah, we got
2 more bikes here as well.
the greatest motorbike ever built on the face of the earth. The 1960 Norton 650 SS Dominator.
Yes, Nick does love this bike. Often I walk into the Atelier building and he's just staring at it.
We've done it. We've done it before. Where we've had entire meetings while I'm just sat on that bike, and it's probably 30 foot away from where we're having a meeting. But I just love that bike.
It's got to be near it.
I have to be near it.
And we've got our little bike here that doesn't have a motor, so we've got our chopper here, which is really quirky and super duper duper fun, and is going to be, actually, it might be a little bit of a surprise draw soon. Woo.
Yeah, people are gonna have to wait for that one.
Yeah, wait for that one.
Wait for that one.
But yes, everyone, thank you so much for joining.
Well, do you want to have a
me
look in
and
the
Nick.
paint shop?
Should we go to the paint shop? Okay, let's go to the paint shop.
Yeah, we've got about
3
3
minutes.
minutes.
Quick, run then.
Right.
So we'll visit tomorrow and Chris in the paint shop. I don't think Chris is in here at the moment actually, to see the cars. So what have we got in here, Nick?
In here, got an Interceptor, which we've been working on for a long, long time. It's everything underneath what these guys are doing is pretty much brand new. I don't think there's a single part of that car that we haven't worked on. Even to the point of we've had to do repairs and stuff on the frame. Again, Jensen's, we kind of know them. This is very different to sort of the other ones that we did, because this is steel body, not fiberglass. The 541's a fiberglass. Yeah, so Chris at the moment is just skim coating it before it then goes in and gets epoxy primed again.
Lovely.
So this is just at the start of beginning to look
The
like a car
beginning
again.
of it, yeah.
We got that. Maro's working on an MGA 1600 or 1500? 16. I think it's 1600. In for a respray. It's had a couple of bits of metal work and stuff done on it as well. The rear valance had to be redone. And when we went to go and redo the rear valance, we then found out that one of the wings had been repaired previously.
Right.
So we had to modify the rear valance to then work with everything else.
Yeah.
Bodywork is a jigsaw, and that's why these guys are heroes.
But there we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me and Nick and Rob behind the camera for a little look round our workshops today here at Pedestry on this bit of a dreary day, but we hope we've brightened yours by getting to see some gorgeous cars. Thank you so much for joining us. From me and Nick, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.